This week's episode of Mind Gap Podcast is brought to you by Caveman Chuck's Paleo Exercise Plan. You may be eating like a caveman on the paleo diet, but are you exercising like one? Well, it's time to up your game with Caveman Chuck's Paleo Exercise Plan. Join Chuck on his 1,000-acre ranch down in Texas and get ready to burn calories as you try to escape from Chuck's menagerie of dangerous predators. Want to get that beach body fast? Try outrunning a tiger. Want to build some muscle? See if you can out-wrestle an orangutan who is guarding the way out of a room filled with poisonous snakes. Want a snack? Well, you're going to have to quickly swim through a lagoon filled with alligators to get it. Caveman Chuck's Paleo Exercise Plan is guaranteed to help you lose weight or make you die trying. Reserve your exercise experience of a lifetime today at cavemanchucks.com. Choose your 30-day exercise plan and enter the code MINDGAP at checkout to get a get-out-of-danger emergency flare free with your exercise experience. Get your body back to the Stone Age with the Caveman Chuck's Paleo Exercise Plan. Hey dorks, just a quick message reminding you to head over to twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast and give us a follow. We live stream when we record our new podcast episodes, and we're live streaming video game sessions on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're playing super rad stuff like Among Us, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Jackbox games, and Tabletop Simulator. Come hang out and play along with us. That's twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Welcome back to another week of Mind Gap Podcast. Justin and I get to work discussing the news about Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, how we judge a movie's success based on its box office haul, and how there are absolutely amazing and creative fans out there who are creating better special effects than the actual movie studios. So go get your popcorn, open up Box Office Mojo, and get ready to do some amazing color correction in episode 252 of Mind Gap Podcast. Mind Gap Podcast.
I'm gonna get in my car and get ready to get this show on the road. See ya.
And that's how we start.
Mind Gap Podcast.
That's how we start right there. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And it still kind of feels weird to do that again. Like, we didn't do that for the longest time. I know, it's like, here we are. We're doing it.
Kind of like, are we doing it again now? Is that official?
I guess. We're a thing now.
I'm into it.
We're a thing. I like it.
We're Facebook official, so we're a thing.
We're a thing now, y'all.
Yeah.
We're a thing now, y'all.
Hey,
you know
y'all.
what I'm saying?
We're a thing.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
Man.
How's but before we get into it, a couple of housekeeping things.
Yeah.
I just want to get
what's up.
I just want to say, don't
Get your
forget,
house
guys.
in order, Doug.
We've got some shirts and some merch. You should check out at teespring.com/stores/2E the number 8. That's teespring.com/stores/2 the letter E the number 8. We've got a couple designs up there. We've got our classic Mind Gap logo. We've got the I Will Haunt Your Butt.
I will haunt your butt.
That's a t-shirt. We've got a retro or a kind of a retro themed podcast. It's actually kind of like the brain that's down. I can never figure out where to point. There we go. Down there. Right there.
Down
that
that
brain.
way. Yeah.
We've got that too. And we've got some other things coming down the pipeline. So go check that out. If you're on Twitch right now, just head down straight down below. You'll find the little box. You can order your shirt now. It'll come right to your door. Convenience at your fingertips. For the first time ever, apparel can come to you.
Never before
Never.
this pandemic could that happen.
Never before in the history of humans has this ever happened. Mind Gap.
Right.
Brought it to you now. So you're welcome.
Remember that.
Remember that.
When you create our Wikipedia page, remember that.
That's right. And also, in case you don't know, we do a video game stream every Saturday at 8 p.m. Central Time, right here, twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Slotty Bartfast, welcome, sir, says t-shirts were previously only delivered by Canon. That's absolutely accurate. T-shirt
Laser
cannon. I was not expecting that. That's very, very funny. We had a really good time last Saturday. We did Dungeons and Dragons, the fantasy board game, starring Mr. Justin Strandlin right here. Justin,
hey,
what'd you think, man?
It was fun, man.
Yeah,
it was a good time. Even though, as a few people pointed out, someone came in late and they're like, "I'm late. What'd I miss?" And someone goes, "Let me recap for you." They took 40 minutes to walk through a room with no monsters. They took a couple potions, and now we're here.
Yep.
That's it. And so it was off to a slow start, I'll say. We were getting back in the groove.
It's okay, though. Duffy's91. Welcome, sir. Thank you for loving our stream. We love you, too. And thanks for always sharing on social media. We appreciate you. Well, I'll say this much. That first room you went into was full of traps. There was 10 traps in there. And you all navigated it pretty well.
Did we uncovered 5 or 6, I think.
Fancy Ramen TV, hello. And welcome. What were in those potions? Well, Justin, do you remember what the potions were?
There was one about a soft hand, I think. The potion of the soft gloved hand.
It was not what it was. It was the forceful hand.
It was, oh, sorry.
The forceful hand.
It was the potion of the forceful hand. It said...
Lotion of the forceful hand.
The lotion of the forceful hand. It said, he pauses, approaches the goblin from behind, says, "Hey, Gobby."
We definitely fought a lot of goblins. I didn't. You guys fought them. I just put them on the board.
What was our potions? There was one that you could move the enemy anywhere in the room that you wanted.
That was the forceful hand.
There was another one. That was the gloved hand. There was another one that was fuck. Honestly, I don't remember. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna make things up. I don't remember.
Well, here's the thing. You're a wise man to have to put that out of your mind. It's not important, but you still do it, you know. And I appreciate that. But I had a lot of fun. It was very fun. Too. You guys were great. I put together a little highlight reel of that. You can find that on our YouTube page right now of just some bits and stuff that was happening. It was extremely, extremely entertaining. We're getting some hydration here. It's good. It's hot. It's hot as balls in my room. It always is.
Is it? I figured out a way to change the fan speed on my AC unit. We've got like the one that runs across the wall, and I can turn it low so it's not picked up by the mic, but it's still on. So my room is very comfortable.
I mean, I've got a vent right under my legs by my crotch, but it's still with the lights and stuff. I run hot anyway. So
yes,
Doug just from his GPU.
You run hot, plus you've got a gigantic disco dance party computer underneath your desk.
I do.
That is just nonstop spinning, and
it's
you've got all the time lights just on you now.
Putting out the vibes. I don't know what computers do.
That's what we need on here. We need a disco theme. We need a dance track that we can play.
Yeah, right. That'd be
I'm gonna look that up for the soundboard.
You do that. Time. You do that for next time.
But
I had a really good time. You guys were great. You were wonderful. I cannot wait for the next adventure.
Is it going to be even crazier?
The next adventure is the farthest that I've ever gotten, like with anybody.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm curious to see how you guys do with it. I think it'll be interesting, and we'll go from there. It'll be fun. It'll be really, really fun.
As long as we have Eric to lead us, I'm very comfortable.
Eric will be there. So
Eric has us locked the fuck down. He has us all right.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah. We won't be doing that again until probably after 4th of July. So if you guys are curious, but it's going to be great. Adventure 3 is going to be a wild one. I can tell you that right now.
And then after this, that's when we level up, right?
You have to finish you have to finish Adventure 4 and then you level up.
Oh, all these hooks. I don't know if I agree with it. There's all these catches now.
There are things. Yes, absolutely. And the next one, so this coming Saturday, which is June 27th, I'm going to be playing Divinity Original Sin 2, which is a role-playing game, single player. But if you're interested in role-playing games, it's one of my favorite ones. It was recommended by my brother. Fantastic game. It's very engaging, very fun. It's very Dungeons and Dragon-esque, but it's just super entertaining. So if you guys want to come watch me play, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm thinking about creating a character off of Slotty, which I think would be interesting. Because you can have up to 4 people in your party. I'm thinking about making, I don't know, Slotty, if you're around, help me create your character, man. I think it'll be fun. Think about what you
All
want to
right.
be. We'll run through it all. It'll be a blast. So
Dave is asking, did they release downloadable content for it yet?
I think so. I think there was some stuff they released for it, and I think it's free. So I don't know. I don't think
That's
you have to buy
right in
it.
my price range.
So a smartass, absolutely. It'll definitely be a smartass. So there you go. So I'm super excited to play. It's one of my favorite games. It's super fun, and we'll have a good time with it. So
I love it.
check us out,
Sounds
baby.
like
Saturday nights. Y'all ain't doing shit anyway. I don't want to hear about phase 4 of your states opening up and all that sort of shit. I don't want to hear about it. Stay in. Be
Guess what?
safe.
Online?
With Uncle Doug.
Online on this stream, we're in phase 6. So come and hang out in phase 6.
That's right,
Virtually.
baby. Phase fucking 6. So I'm very excited about that. So, and I just want to say thank you again, Justin, for participating in the Dungeons and Dragons stream, Uncle Doug's Puzzle Basement. I don't know, man. I love that and hate that at the same time.
I'm going to tell you right now, Slotty, that I would not ever set foot in a place that was called Uncle Doug's Puzzle
But
Basement.
what if we just put a clown on the marquee? Would that make it better?
Not even a little. Not even a little bit.
Hey,
'Cause
welcome
that
to
sounds like
Uncle Doug's Puzzle Basement. It's a heck of a time. Good luck trying to find your way out.
Sounds like an escape room that no one wins
Yeah, right?
except Uncle Doug.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That
Not
sounds
into that.
awesome. You won't wear any clothes and you'll cry.
That sounds exactly like what I picture Uncle Doug's Puzzle Basement to be,
Yeah, I mean,
without a shadow of a doubt.
you don't need the weight of the world on your shoulders, to keep you from solving these puzzles, You got to go free, Free your body. I said bod. Free your bod, and your mind will follow. I think that's how it goes.
I heard that in a song one time.
Yeah, free your body, and your mind will follow.
No, but it is my pleasure. I'm glad you talked me into doing this because I have for a long time. Again, like the only reference that I have is Stranger Things and that one episode of Community. So I've seen it. I know it's a thing. I know people who are into it are really into it. I've just never had the opportunity to be into it, and so it's interesting to see, even if it's a light version. It's very interesting to see what I'm kind of what everyone's buzzing about.
Yeah. Again, I like the light version because it holds your hand in a lot of good ways. Like there's not a whole lot of other stuff. It's obviously a great visual for you to see what's happening and stuff. And I'm just having a blast. So I'm glad you're a part of it. I'm glad Sam and Jared and Eric are a part of it too. It's been super fun. And honestly, I've enjoyed folks like Pelkey, Slotty, Sirloin, D. Cochran 84. Everyone just hanging out while it's happening is the best. And there's a lot of bits in that highlight reel that came from comments from the Twitch stream. So thank you all, as always.
Yeah.
You guys are the goddamn best. Slotty essentially coined the Dungeon Karens, which is the game. That's the group's name moving forward.
Adventurer name, yeah.
So there you go. It's on. It's off. It's popping. It's happening. So that's Saturdays 8 p.m. Twitch.tv/MindGap podcast. Come hang out. Be part of the cool kids, Do it.
Yeah.
Do what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So, real quick, I want to talk about something just kind of like a little bit of carryover from last week, because originally this news came from the one and only Rob Ballmeyer.
As a follow-up, he was like, hey guys, did you see this?
Yes, and according to things, like The Hollywood Reporter, Michael Keaton is in talks to return as Batman for the Flash movie. So,
boy, here we go.
My gut reaction in the text was, "Dear God, why?"
Right. and you know what? You are 100% correct for feeling that.
Because
You're not wrong.
I know they're doing the Flashpoint paradox, and it sounds like they're essentially aiming to reboot everything through this Flash movie. Or to basically open it up so that they're like, hey, it's kind of a shared universe, but it's a paradox. All these things can exist because it's, who knows, right? But I'll say this much. I love Michael Keaton.
Hail Mary pass.
I love Michael Keaton. I loved him in Birdman. I loved him in the recent Spider-Man movie with Spider-Man Homecoming. Like, he's a phenomenal actor, and I wouldn't mind seeing him again in this iteration as Batman. Just not Tim Burton's, because I'll be curious to see How he plays
I want to
it?
know, does he show up in a rubber suit? Like, is it old school, like his
Yeah.
Batman? Because the two things that article goes into that they said how they could play this is one where he plays Bruce Wayne, but in that alternate timeline, it's Thomas Wayne who's actually Batman.
True. Slotty
And
has
so
a.
he's lived. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, you had. You finish.
No, I was gonna say, so he's lived that life, around a Batman, but not being the Batman. And then the other one that it goes into is potentially he's training the next person to take up that mantle.
Yeah.
He's passing that along, and that could then maybe bring in the multiverse. Maybe it's just a straight. Here's why Joseph Gordon-Levitt didn't die, because he got trained by Michael Keaton. I don't know.
Hey, I'd like to have that plot hole filled with that. That'd be great. I'd love for Michael Keaton to fill that hole. That'd be awesome.
Right?
D. Cochran 84 says he read that they want him to be the Nick Fury of the DCEU, which I've heard also, which would be kind of strange, but
What the thing that ties, like, the Nick Fury in the sense that he shows up in every movie then, or
that he's more or less sort of orchestra. I don't even know what that fucking means. Now that you mentioned it, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, or maybe he's playing Thick Nuri. Kind of like Slade
Wilson and Wade Wilson.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Slotty says, if anybody can pull off multiverse time travel reboot, it's clearly the people steering the ship at the DCEU. Itoyo7 says, plot twist, he shows up as Vulture. Yeah, so yeah, and I think D. Cochran also says, I think that makes the Tim Burton Batman universe canon. And he would be the guy who organizes the DCEU and the Justice League. I'm like, everything right there. I'm like,
the thing is, as interested as I'm about as interested in this as I am in seeing Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. Well, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And that's about where my interest begins and ends, because I can't not see this as just a Hail Mary pass.
Yeah. No,
for
I
them
agree.
going, maybe this, I don't know.
I just, like, I don't know. Like, I know that Batman movie was beloved by a lot of people because it was kind of like, it was one of those milestones, right? When you think about superhero movies and what it was able to accomplish commercially and all that sort of stuff. Like, it was pretty powerful. But if you go back and rewatch it, in my opinion, it hasn't really aged well. Like, it's got a weird feel to it for me, and it's just, I don't know. I guess at the time it was pretty cool, right? Because we hadn't seen a Batman like that on the screen.
No, not at all.
Because it was just Adam West stuff, you know?
I was gonna say the last thing we came from was 1966 at that point.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing we had. So at that point it was like, whoa, serious Batman, woo! You know,
Right.
It was like, it had a very interesting feel to it and everything, but Bruce Wayne is weird in that movie. Just, I don't know, there's just a lot of weird aspects to it, and I feel like we've gotten to a good place with Batman, and then we've kind of, gone some different ways with it too. So it would just be hard to bring that back in. It's just, it seems like they've got someone chained in a basement somewhere, and they're like, until you give us a good idea, we're not going to let you out. And they're like, oh no, man, bring Michael Keaton in. He's cool. He was Birdman. Birdman's cool. He won an Oscar. Get him back in. People love that movie. Let me go, please. They're in Uncle Doug's puzzle basement, And
I was looking for a sound effect of electric, because I can just see him, like, he's hooked up to like a car battery. He's like, I don't know, man.
It's like
Michael Keaton. No, I don't know.
It's like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. He's chained up and under the water, and they're just hitting him with electrical stuff. He's like, I don't know, Michael Keaton, man. Get him in there. They're like, that's crazy. And then they step back. They're like, that actually may work. We'll see.
I don't know. What do you think? Maybe Michael Keaton? Yeah, keep him chained up.
Okay,
Yes.
so we'll keep him chained up. We'll let him go, maybe, if it works.
Maybe. We'll see what the box office numbers say.
I don't know, man.
I mean, the thing that we watched, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a couple months before we went into lockdown, at one of the ICMCs, we watched that Batman, the original Batman, and just to see, like, again, does it hold up? Like, is it as good as we all remember? And while we were all like, oh, nostalgia, oh, I remember that line, and ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, and all those fun things, and then you actually watch the movie beginning to end, and you take the nostalgia out of it, and you're like, Whew. Okay, that was the thing that happened. It's so steeped in 1980s.
Yeah.
Like it could not be more 80s if it tried to be more 80s.
Yeah.
And
E207
I think
says,
that's the thing that doesn't age well about it.
E207 says, now Lego Batman time would be really impressive. In my list, Lego comes before Keaton. Just saying. I agree, man. That the Lego Batman movie is phenomenal. I love it.
I have not seen that.
I absolutely love it. Like, it is so goddamn good. Like,
yeah.
It's like one of those perfect kids movies. Like, I try to get Natalie to watch it, but she's just not into it. She'll watch the regular Lego movie. I'm like, hey, what about Batman Lego movie? She's like, no. I'm like, come on, it's good.
Please. Yeah,
it's got so many great references in it. It's so fun.
It's got so many great references. You'll like it.
It's
Please
phenomenal.
Like it.
It's such a great take on everything. Like, it's so good. But it's just one of those things where, I mean, I don't know. It's so weird to see DC like just trying to, like, they've got the defibrillator on this stuff, and they're like, live, damn it, live. And like, again, we went through the movie slate of stuff now, which I know could possibly be on pause with the pandemic and stuff like that, and we'll see what actually comes out. But it's like, man, like what do they think's gonna happen here? Like, what do they think they're actually gonna do? And I don't know, man. It just seems like it's a real. I mean, financially, it has to be worth something, right? Because they keep making it. That has to be the whole point of this, right?
Well, the thing is that you look at the Suicide Squad, as shitty as that movie was, it brought in money.
Yeah. People want to see it,
Justice League brought in money.
It did.
Batman v Superman brought in money. All of these movies are coming up net positive. So why, like, again, sure, you're tainting your reputation, but the heads of the studios don't give a flying fuck about that.
Because they have this intellectual property, right? That they're licensing, and it's going to come with merchandising, and it's going to come with all this sort of stuff that's going to make it worth their while. So
and they know that there's a small section of fans that you and I have talked about that are not like uber, movie news nerds who will just go and see it and go, that was fun.
Yeah.
Which, again, nothing wrong with that, but those are the people that they're banking on. It's the people who are the fans of the source material and really like a cohesive universe and story. Those are the people that it's going to bother, but I feel like those are the very, very much the minority.
Yeah. Yeah, and D. Cochran 84 says, yeah, but those movies eat up movie release dates, studio time, directors, actors, etc. that could be used in other more financially savvy ways. Because I agree, because... yes,
I don't know about that.
Those movies make money, but is it enough to justify the cost? But at what cost do they make money?
Let's find out. Let's take a look at some of the numbers.
Well, I know Justice League is a real. I think that one was in the 700 millions.
So let's see here. We're gonna go. Let's just start with Justice League then.
Sly says if they get one good one in every 5, it breathes enough life back in the universe to make another 5 make sense. That's how it feels.
Oh, wow. Box Office Mojo got fully purchased by IMDb, and they have changed their site.
I have not been there in a while.
I don't even know where to find how much it was made for anymore. Wow.
Yeah, this definitely looks different.
Guys, I apologize. This is going to be us fumbling through here for a little bit. So worldwide, this one made $657 million.
That's really bad. That's really bad for a Justice League movie.
Right. But again, why can't I find how much it cost to make?
Well, they may not list it.
This is horrible.
They may not list it here. That had to be a $200 million movie. Or it had to be between 150 and 200 million. It had to be.
Oh, I fully agree. Yeah. Hold on. Let's Justice League film. Here we go.
And they're going to put an additional 30 million back into it for the Snyder Cut.
They're reporting the budget is $300 million. So they made, now that's not with P&A.
Nope.
Also factored in. So usually they say however much the budget was, factor an equal amount to P&A. And now we're at 600. So they made maybe.
So you're gonna spend $600 million to make 57 million. Like,
so that one might not have been a great.
But again,
what other one do we had? Hold on. Suicide Squad.
I'll do Batman v Superman.
All right. Suicide Squad. What do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Box office.
Yeah, where do
Budget
you-
was 175. Box office was 746.
See, that's pretty
That one-
good. Again,
That
even
one
if you
made it pretty, yeah.
even if you double it, you know, it's
Yeah.
Where do you find the costs on here?
I'm on Wikipedia. I've given up. I need time to digest the Box Office Mojo now.
Yeah.
I'm sure the information is on there, but I like to think that most people
Oh,
pulled these numbers.
Right where it says budget, that's where it's listed.
Okay, so then I will say that Justice League did not have budget on there.
I didn't think I saw it either, but you know, it is under Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman was $250 million. It grossed worldwide $873 million. So,
Okay.
But again, if you compare those releases to other Marvel releases,
Right, but they know they're not Marvel. They're never
do
going
they,
to
Justin?
be Marvel.
Do they?
That's fair.
they?
That's fair.
To quote Slotty, he says they're like a kid trying to copy off the smart kid's paper, but they really need glasses and won't admit yet, so they can't even tell what they're copying.
Fuck, that's really good.
Because I mean, when you look at
well,
things
here,
like
Wonder Woman, but they have these one-off things that I think that's what keeps them coming back to the table.
Mhm.
So, like to Dave's point, the reason I don't fully agree with that is because they could be putting their resources, directors, actors, into more profitable or financially responsible things. What do they have?
well, Justin, don't you
outside of,
have
like, the
don't you have a
random-
project you'd like to get made?
I do.
Just saying. What do you need? $1 million? $2 million?
You know what? I'll take 100.
What?
I'll take
100
100
million?
million. Yes. And let me explain to you how that's going to benefit you. Let me pull up my
Let me
whiteboard.
take a third of that budget and just tell you why it's going to be better off that you vote for me. I'm gonna tell you
Exactly.
why.
Yeah. So
Let me do
Wonder
a business
Woman,
plan for you.
the budget was 149, and they made 821.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was out of the ball. Like they knocked that out of the ballpark as
Ooh.
far as DC's concerned.
Because that's, again, DCocker84 says, you guys know more about budgeting than me, but I would think you could spend $300 million on multiple movies and possibly make more overall. I guess it depends on the type of movie, though, right? Because
This is where we get back into the mid-level. Like if we're getting to the point where any movie you go see in the theater, if it's under $150 to $200 million, it's going to flop.
yeah. Well, it has
Everything
to be.
else goes to the streaming services.
Yeah. It's
Like
interesting.
because you're looking to get now, like the stakes have been raised so much that like if you don't think about, I think you and I talked about this a couple podcasts ago, is if you don't make, there was a movie that came out, it made like $100 million and we were just, or I think in its opening weekend, it made 40 million or something like that. And you and I were like, oh, that's rough. But we're like, it made $40 million. Like when did that become a bad weekend?
It depends on, again, it's relative to, well, how much is the budget and what does that
Sure,
long tail
but it
look
was
like?
Only opening weekend.
I
And,
know.
like, so I think things have just the whole paradigm has shifted about what this industry as a business looks like. And I think the streaming services have had a lot of impact on that.
I think you're right, and I think also because we're now speaking almost a different language than we used to, like 20 or 30 years ago, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is considered a success nowadays, right? And when someone's like, "Oh, only a $40 million opening weekend," it's like, well, I mean, because again, you can do the math. Like, well, it's not going to get any higher than that, and if your
Right.
budget's $250 million. That's not a good way to open. Like you want to try and get at least half of that in your opening weekend and so on and so forth. Like you can see how that affects things and whatnot. But, you know, to see like a $10, $15 million movie make $40 million, you know, in their opening weekend, like that's a huge win.
Even a $60 million movie making 40 in its opening weekend.
Yeah.
You've made almost all of it back in the opening weekend. So again, like that's, yeah.
Hey, E207, thank you so much for the subscription. We appreciate
Thanks, buddy.
you. You're the best. You're the best. And I think, yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I look at this stuff because, like, take for example the Justice League, right? What they totally grossed. Doctor Strange beat that, and you know, Doctor Strange.
That's not widely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a great movie. I just Natalie wanted to rewatch it recently. I'm like, let's do it. Let's watch this movie. But not wildly known character. It's something that's like, this is the Justice League that has Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Cyborg, the Flat. Like, that's the Avengers of that thing, and it's like,
right.
Doctor Strange beat that. It's like,
Right.
That's a problem. That's a
This
real
what
problem.
was a one-off character that only super nerds knew. They somehow morphed him into a box office behemoth.
Yeah.
Same thing they did with Guardians of the Galaxy that no one saw coming. And all of a sudden now Marvel's sitting there with their big dick at the table going, what's next?
Well, I mean, they did it with everything.
Maybe we can...
They did it with Iron Man. They did it with Captain America.
Yeah.
Thor.
Let's not forget that Iron Man was never a prime Marvel character until the movie came out.
Exactly. And then they took all this stuff and they were able to make it. And I love, D. Cochran said, have Blumhouse do a DC movie. Like, just find some, because, again, let's take a look at Deadpool, right? They had a relatively low budget of $60 million.
Right.
They made a great movie out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's possible to do it. And now, granted, can you do Endgame level stuff? Probably not. Can you do Infinity War? Probably not.
Probably not.
You can find. I would love to, especially if we're going to be doing, sort of these single sort of like one-off movies. Have a creative studio or have people in that vein. I would love to see that. I would love to see Taika Waititi type of take on a film. I'm looking forward to James Gunn's Suicide Squad, right? Have someone take a creative spin on it and just have fun with it and see where it ends up, You
and I have talked for a long time about how that's one thing that we liked about not Civil War, Winter Soldier, was because it was essentially an espionage film set against a superhero backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
And so taking these genres and playing with the genres, putting them into a specific box and like, all right, how do we make so a straight up horror movie would be fucking awesome to see.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's just like scare the shit. And now in fairness, DC does have something like that slated, but again, when's that going to come out?
I mean, again, Fox was trying to do that with New Mutants, which I don't even know if that movie will ever see the light of day, but it was kind of the same thing. Like, we're going to take the idea of the X-Men and put it with a horror backdrop. Like, these kids, these mutants are put in this horrific place and they're trying to find their way out using their powers. I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
I love those takes on it. I think it's fun to do genre bending stuff with these sort of classically known stuff. I mean, that's why I think those kind of bizarre movies like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter were so like fun cult movies where it's like, wait, what? Right. We're taking this historical figure and he's what, a vampire hunter? This is insane. It's like, yeah, but it's intriguing because you're like, oh, we're taking these things and we're flipping it and we're making it fun. I find that stuff just so interesting where I'm like, that's a creative approach to it. And you know what? And, I think D. Cochran 84 said this earlier. It's like, you got to have a good script, man. You got to have a good story. Yeah. That's what it kind of boils down to. And
what I think a lot of people in the industry, when you get to a certain level, forget that. And we've talked about this, and that's a very cliche thing to say because everyone realizes that. But right here, again, he says in our chat on Twitch, returns like $50 million for a company like Warner Brothers also probably pisses off the investors. And that's a very interesting point to make, because to what you just said is that I think they've lost the concept of they're making movies. Movies are storytelling. They're looking at this. It has shifted so much to, if we don't, for any movie we put out, if we do not clear $150 million in that opening weekend, we are a financial failure. And then we have to retool and get yada, yada. And it's not true. Like, again, if you take a movie that costs like what Deadpool did, $58 million, even if it had only made $40 million its opening weekend, that would be a really strong opening weekend, but they would not have seen it as such. The fact that its opening weekend, it made $132 million, they're just like, that's the standard now. That's what we have to hit. And it ended up grossing worldwide over $750 million.
Yeah.
Off of 60 million.
And an R-rated movie, no less, which is kind of hard to do.
Right. But again, I think the investors lose sight of it. It's turned straight up into just it's the new stock market, basically.
Well, it's true. I mean, think about it. If you're going to invest $600 in something and you get $50 back, it's like, hey man, thanks for lending me your money. Here's an extra $50 on top of that. It's kind of like, yeah, I don't think that's worth it. Like, that's not worth my time to give you $600.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, I'm going to give you $650. It's like, thanks, man. I'd rather have $1,200, like double my investment, or whatever. So I get where people are like, yeah, that wasn't really what we thought. Because you're also thinking, if you're going to spend $300 million, now, again, that movie was also riddled with complications behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it's like, what is that money going towards? What's the value add? I hate to say that corporate, phrase. What's the value add on the digital effects here? Because you look at $300 million, you're like, this thing is going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous film. And you look at it, you're like, what the fuck is this? Why does Cyborg look like a goddamn abomination? Like, why does Abomination look like a cave troll? Why is everything in this dark red background? Like, it just doesn't look good for $300 million. And then you look at Endgame, again, probably pretty comparable budget, and you look at that beautiful portal scene. It looks like almost like a beautiful matte painting where everything's coming together, and you're like, this is awesome! Like, it's just... Natalie wanted to watch Infinity War and Endgame back-to-back over the weekend. I was like, let's do it. Let's have fun. See you in 6 hours. Here we go. And just watching it, I'm just like, this is such a good thing. Like, this is so beautiful. Like, it's just lovely. And you're like, that's a return on an investment. Now, granted, also good stories built up for that. But, Jared, leave it alone with Superman Returns. That movie is average at best. Average at best, sir.
No, Jared, you keep it up. You stand by your fucking principles, Jared. I support you.
Stand by your man.
I support you. When after Rob's episode last week, I jumped on. It got me thinking. I'm like, I haven't seen this movie since I saw it the first and only time. Maybe let me see if I can. It's not readily available. I'll just look up clips. I got sucked into probably an hour plus clip-a-thon. I should have just watched the movie again, but I could not get over how bad, upon a second viewing, how bad those graphics really were.
What, in Superman Returns?
No. That was a beautiful movie. It was set against a wonderfully artistic backdrop. I'm talking about Justice League.
Yeah.
It was like, again, Cyborg. I looked at that. I'm like, oh, this looks like a college student's attempt at acing an After Effects final. Like, it was the part of his face that was metal was as the actor would move his head a little bit, it was shifting. Like, it was just the tracking on it was wrong. That fucking mustache scene again.
Well, it's so interesting because you see stuff all the time where you've got just fans of stuff that are way more qualified and talented than the people that are getting made to do it. Now, I'll also say that these studios are probably outsourcing a lot of this work as well to other places. But I was reading an article the other day where they were talking about how I don't know who owns the Lucille Ball show or the I Love Lucy. I don't know who owns it, but whatever they did is they colorized it. They added color to the show. Okay. And they made Lucille's hair look like a Cheetos puff color. Like, it looked like Cheetos orange instead of like her natural red. And a fan went back and just decided they were going to color correct it, and they did it infinitely better.
Right.
Just like you also found that clip with the Irishman and doing like de-aging, and there's a fan that did it better than the people that were getting. It's like,
instead of the de-aging, he put deepfake technology on it. Readily available open source deepfake technology based off of these characters or these actors' other movies. Done.
Yeah.
And it looked light years better.
And and I don't know what that says or anything like that. It's just that I guess if you have enough time on your hands, you can accomplish anything, so to speak. If you have the time and the desire, the world is your oyster, right? I don't know.
That brings up a good. Why do you think? Because the studios, I refuse to believe that the studios don't know that it could look better. The studios have to know. If random fans out there, because there's some guy who's probably sitting in there and showed it to his nephew, and his nephew's like, that looks like dog shit. I could do it better. Like there's got to be people in that room who are watching the screening going, guys, Like I could literally give this to my niece and she could make this look exponentially better than what it is. Why do you think the movie studios are so complicit? And it can't be a money thing because these fans are doing it at home for free.
Well, I think it's a matter of it's got to be time and money, right? How much time do they? It's got to be deadlines and stuff like that, right? But at the same time, I don't know, man. This is a great question. There's so many variables, right? Because there's a level of shit. We got to get this out. We had a deadline. We had an agreement. Get it out. I don't care if Lucille Balls looks like a flaming hot Cheeto. You know,
right?
As Slotty said, maybe we could do the tie-in with the flaming hot Cheetos. Maybe that could be an advertiser. Who knows? You know,
that's good product placement. Desi Arnaz just walks in, inexplicably eating a bag of Cheetos that did not.
They just somehow crop it in. It's somehow in the background, like
or instead of the chocolate down the conveyor belt, it's just Cheetos coming down. Yeah, now it's we've completely digitally remastered the show.
Yeah, it's just because I would find it hard to believe that people would be like, yeah, that looks good. Thumbs up, because it looks terrible. Like, I just can't believe it. I have to believe it's something. It's got to be something. Just it's got to be. There's a deadline that they have to meet. They have to do that, and then someone just goes, fuck it, and they just give it the thumbs up or whatever. Like, I mean, what are they gonna do? Not release it? Are they gonna spend more money to get the coloring right? I mean, I don't know, man.
Again, because it's not like the people at home are spending 2 years doing it. Like most of these people can have this turned around in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there, man. Like, I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, again, going back to, we're going to transition slightly to the guy who made the Astartes, like, short films on YouTube for the Warhammer 40K universe. Someone hire that man to make a movie about anything. His skills are phenomenal. Hire that man. Like, he did all that stuff by himself. Sound design, just animation, all of it. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's like, everyone's just like, how does this guy not? He does this for fun. Fucking give this guy $30 million and let him go play. Like, it doesn't even have to be that crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, those are the things that drive me nuts, where I'm like, everyone can see how amazing this is. Fucking pick this guy up. Have him do something.
Yeah. It's those people who you sit there and you just go, like, it's the Freddie Wongs.
Yes. Exactly.
And his studio is definitely Rocket Jump Studio, definitely getting work and everything. But again, you look at someone like that who they started out just fucking around. And they built themselves this reputation. They built out this career for themselves because they're amazing at it. But there are people like Freddie Wong's and his people. They're out there. There are so many talented people who could have these studios movies looking so much better if they would just hire them. And I guarantee it would not cost them the $30 million that HBO Max is pumping into Snyder's movie. They could probably do it for half that and have it look twice as good.
Well, I think part of it has to be just an unequivocal lack of awareness of what's out there, right? There's no A&R scouts out there looking for the next, but it's not like Freddie Wong is like an unknown. Like, in the YouTube community, he's like he's well known, right? Like, they have what is it? What's the convention they have every year? What is it?
It's is it StreamerCon? No,
something
it's,
like I can't forget what it's called.
I used to know it.
Yeah. But take that, for example, like those, it's a big thing. People, I keep seeing stuff from that site Tube Filter, like that. That's like all these people are getting picked up for the thing. So there's now, it seems like there's a bigger pulse on it. But at the same time, and who knows, maybe those guys like Freddie Wong are like, fuck you, I'm not doing anything because I want to VidCon. Like, I want to do my own shit. Like,
and more power to him if that's the case.
Because I just also, news came in that Mixer is basically going under. They're shutting down. And instead, now Mixer then has turned it over to Facebook Gaming, which I didn't even know was a thing. But all the big guys like Ninja and Shroud that were on there, essentially, I think they had like their contracts or whatever. They basically were like, nah, we're not going to Facebook Gaming. You have to buy us out. Like, because they're like, fuck that.
Fuck Facebook. Yeah.
We're not going to do that. And it's just another one of those situations.
They just jumped Twitch to go to
to
Mixer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
And then Mixer's like, in 30 days, we are shutting down and it will become Facebook gaming. It's like, oof, yikes.
So that begs the question then, where are they going to go?
I mean,
They
could go back to Twitch. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing that sucks is they have to rebuild those communities all over again. I'm sure Twitch would be like, come on back. Come
Right.
to Papa. We'll have you.
We'll have
I'm sure immediately people will pick up, all that sort of stuff. They'll hop back in. They'll see that stuff again. It just sucks to have to rebuild all that again. But,
eToy07 goes, Facebook gaming from the creators of Farmville.
I saw someone else post on a comment on the day. They're like, what do they have there? Like bingo? Like what
Bingo
gaming?
Bash! That game used to be the shit.
What games do they have on there? Like,
oh my God.
Facebook gaming. I'm like, ugh, no, thank you. No, wouldn't like to do that at all. No. But the idea that those guys were essentially like, nah, I'm good. I don't need this other contract. I don't need this. There's very few people in the world that do have the ability to essentially say, no,
right,
I'm good. I don't need that. I was listening to a podcast recently. I think it was with Bill Burr, where he was essentially giving advice to any new and upcoming comedians. He's like, here's what you want to do to don't get fucked by people in the business.
Yeah.
He's like, don't ever give a portion of ownership of your podcast or anything that you own, because it's a bunch of horse shit, because you'll be tied to them, and even if you you leave, the manager still owns a portion of it. It's like, if they're gonna tell you that what is it? Because they're trying to do this with Bill Burr and his his city, something like he had to, I forget, there's some sort of crazy, ridiculous nonsense math that's like, well, you got to pay this, and then we get this, and it's like, what the fuck? They told a story with Jim Brewer. He was filming his comedy special, and the management company at the last minute said they wanted portion of the door, of the money, of the ticket sales for the special, and Jim Brewer's like, no. Why? They're like, well, they're here because of the production. He goes, no, they're here to see me. They're my fans. Right. And he took him to court over it. And he won. Wow. But it was just these guys were essentially like, we need a portion of the door because the production's what's bringing them in. It's like, fuck you. No.
And the thing is, if it wasn't Jim Brewer, if it wasn't Bill Burr, if it wasn't someone who had the means to fight it, because Jim Brewer could sit there and just go, no, fuck you. I'm not no,
Yeah.
Bill Burr's got the money. He's got fuck you money now.
Yeah.
He can say that, and people want him to perform, so they can't argue it. But if you're some poor schlub who's just starting, or he or she is just starting to get your empire off the ground, and you're just starting to come up, and someone pulls that shit, you might be in a position where you have to be like, fuck, all right, I have to give into this because I need to do this show to go to that next level.
Yeah.
That's a real shitty business practice.
Yeah. It is, and Bill Burr's response to that was, say no and just keep grinding. He's like, if they're coming to buy something, he goes, all it's going to do is you're probably 2 years behind, hang in there for 2 more years, and you'll be good.
And that's a great point too, because if they're offering money, if they want a piece of it, they see something.
Mm-hmm.
They see potential, and so they want in. So that's a good indicator to you that, oh, the wolves are coming sniffing now.
Yeah.
So that means that I've got something that people want now.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, they just want a piece of the ownership. They don't really want to do anything. They just want to get a percentage of it, and somehow they're going to elevate you and things like that. And I think there's nowadays it's so easy to produce your own content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The gatekeepers and the walls are so low these days. Now the problem with that is that there's so much noise, right?
Right.
Mind Gap Podcast isn't shouting from the tops of all rooftops out there we have an awesome community. I love everyone as our community, but we're small. We're small and mighty. But there's a lot of other things out there,
We're screaming underwater and a few bubbles are hitting the surface. That's where we are right now.
I'm going to go to twitch.tv right now and just see, real quick. There is...
who's the top person?
Oh, there's nothing. Let's see. Usually when I come in here, there's I don't know. Right now. RAC, Music and Performing Arts. This guy has 15,000 viewers right now, and he's just playing some EDM music. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's that's the world that we're competing with in all this sort of stuff, because the walls are small but mighty, just like my prom night. Thank you, Jervis.
Ha small and mighty.
But I like that. I appreciate the sense that, you know, I love the fact that there's technology out there that allows us to do what we're doing right now, that we can have our own podcast, that we can stream on Twitch, that we can hang out with these all freaking awesome people and just have fun. We can stream video games. We can have this community, and it's great. It's awesome. It's amazing. Whereas 20 years ago, the thought of doing this was like, we're gonna have a closed circuit TV. It was public access television.
Right. It was Wayne's World.
It was the radio station I had in college that no one listened to.
Right, exactly.
We were an internet station, but nobody listened to WAUG 97.9 FM. Like no one listened to that shit.
Right. Or the one that we had at Columbia, 88.1 WCRX, Chicago's Underground.
Yeah, it's like no one listened to that, you know. Jervis says, I look forward to you starting your OnlyFans soon. So you're not familiar with OnlyFans.
That's where Doug does his sit-ups with no shirt on.
That's right.
On onlyfans.com/mindgap.
That's where I pop out my ribs and I really get to it. You know what I mean?
You want to talk about hydrate?
You want to talk about those damn ribs? I take care of that problem real quick on onlyfans.com.
People can't get enough gobby. Pee on me, daddy.
I love these sound bites. Damn those ribs indeed, sir. Damn those ribs indeed.
God, that looks so gross and phallic.
I love these. I'm so glad I was able to pull these.
Self-gobby. You know what else you see on onlyfans.com/mindgap?
I just poop jaculated my moist missile.
Yep.
If you ever want to see someone poop jaculate their moist missile, come on over to onlyfans.com/mindgap/ Doug's Ribs.
Go to onlyfans.com/Uncle Doug's Puzzle Basement. We're gonna figure some shit out, baby.
Oh, I don't like that. I have a horrible taste in my mouth now.
You're welcome. It's just my sweat.
Oh God.
In other news, Joel Schumacher died today.
Speaking of Batman.
Speaking of bad news.
Holy bat news, Batman.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So he was died at 80 years old from complications from cancer, I believe. And really prolific director and producer, writer. He unfortunately was responsible for the Val Kilmer and George Clooney Batmans, but that's okay. They all can't be winners. He also did St. Elmo's Fire.
I didn't realize he did that.
Yeah, and was it The Lost Boys? No,
he did do Lost Boys, which is an amazing movie. Have you seen that?
I've seen clips, but I've not seen top to bottom.
Oh, dude, my favorite part of that movie. There is this. It's such a because when did that come out, in the 90s or was it 80s? Oh, it's the late 80s. It feels like a late 80s, and it was, dude, it was. There's a part where they're like, we're gonna go hang out at the town like party, and it's at a beach. And there's this dude, this shirtless dude, long hair, like necklace. And he's up there in like these tight leather pants. And he's got the mic and he's singing. And he's like gyrating. And everyone's on the beach like, yeah, this is great. But at one point he pulls out a saxophone. And he starts playing a saxophone all sexy like. And I'm like, oh my God. And everyone is like, I'm into this, man. I'm like, no one would be into this. It is so weird. And it's like, that is a true guilty pleasure of mine. Like, that movie is bonkers, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
I may have to go back.
You got Kiefer Sutherland in it. You got the Coreys are in it. Corey Feldman and the late Corey
Haim.
There it goes. Yeah. It is wild. It's such a wild movie. But I remember just watching that, like, it was years after the fact. I'm like, oh, Lost Boys. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? This is insane.
Why is this movie?
I'm like, this is so much fun. And then another one is Flatliners. Have you ever seen that?
I have not seen that one, no.
They remade it, unfortunately. I was like, doesn't need to be remade. But the conceit is that these young med students figured out how to kill themselves, but then bring themselves back. Because they're
I remember the conceit of the story. Yes.
It's got Kiefer Sutherland, and some other famous people. Okay. It's like, what's her name? That lady, Julia Roberts.
Yes.
Kevin Bacon, William Baldwin, Oliver Platt. Got some really good folks in there. It's very interesting. It's an interesting concept. And when they go to the other side, they don't know what they bring back with them. They come back. Dun, dun, dun! What I love most about that movie, too, is like this med school seems like it's taking place in an abandoned building. And I'm like, what med school is this? Like, I don't understand. It's crazy. Billy Baldwin, the Bush Light of Baldwins. I don't know. You familiar with Daniel Baldwin? That guy is a special type of Baldwin.
Do not besmirch,
Whatever you want.
Don't speak ill of the Daniel Baldwin.
Don't speak sick of Daniel Baldwin.
Icky, speak of Daniel Baldwin.
Sirloin goes so delicious.
But I heard an interview with Schumacher today where they were playing some clips of him, and he explained, which I thought was interesting because I'd never really heard an explanation for why Batman Forever was Batman Forever. Or sorry, no, Batman and Robin. Why that one was what it was, which was arguably a just horrible movie. But he said that he was like, we'd had 50 years of dark, brooding, my parents are dead Batman. I wanted to show that it was a comic book, and I wanted to have fun with it, and I wanted to basically turn it on its head and make it a comedy. And I was like, I never picked up on the fact that it was intentionally supposed to be a comedy. I always thought it was trying to be the next Tim Burton Batman, but just done in a very 90s way. I never picked up on the fact that it was intended to be almost slapstick satire ?
You know what? I
Does
kind
that
of
change your opinion on it?
I appreciate it because that to me shows some severe self-awareness, and he knows. There was something that was stated that either it was caught on camera or it was recorded somewhere where he was doing an interview, and as he was interviewing, someone's like, you ruined Batman, and he just real quickly goes, I know. Like, he just was like so much of a like, I know. Like, he took a shot at it and he's like, what are you gonna do? And I kind of appreciate that about his approach to it. Is he took a shot at something. I don't like the movie. I saw it one time in the actual theater. I think my mom wanted to see it, and it was a depressing theater experience. It was my mom, me, I think 2 other people in the theater. I was like, ugh. Or maybe I saw it, I don't know. It was a sad experience. I did not like it. It was like, it just, because to go from Batman and Batman Returns to then Batman Forever, which is definitely one of the more forgettable ones. And then
I disagree. Batman Forever, I feel like, is the second least worst.
I just don't remember much about it. Like,
Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, you don't.
I know they're in it. Yeah, I know the characters they play. Val Kilmer was very forgettable as Batman or Bruce Wayne for me.
Oh man, that's where his detectiveness came out. He was solving all of the Riddler's riddles. Edward Enigma.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come on. It's just, I don't know. To transition, because part of it was they were saying that was part of the same universe, right? So to go from Batman, and Batman Returns was really dark. I remember watching that movie in the theater and being scared as a kid, like, fuck, the Penguin is terrifying. And like,
oh yeah. Yeah, man.
And then to go from that movie to Batman Forever, I was like, this feels different. This doesn't feel the same. To then go to Batman and Robin, we're like, wow, we've just Batskates,
right.
So I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate, his attempt at what he did. And what I love more is the fan theory that movie is actually a movie that is shown in the Batman universe.
I have heard this.
As the depictions of like what Batman has done. Like, It's like super meta.
Like his ethos or his legend or mythos has preceded him.
That like some Hollywood director like heard about him and then did a movie about him in that universe. Like I think that's the best.
That makes it so. I want that. Yes.
Sirloin A4 says that's probably Kilmer's worst movie, Soiled: The Legacy of Mad Margan. What about him as Doc Holliday in Tombstone? That is, God damn.
I love that role.
Oh man,
I'll be a Huckleberry. I might need to pull that for a fucking soundbite.
Dude, I finally that movie went on sale on Apple Movies for $5, and I was like, oh, done.
Nice,
got it.
Fun fucking movie.
Oh, I love it so much.
We watched that one for one of the ICMCs as well.
Ah, it's just so much fun.
Yeah,
horribly inaccurate history wise.
Oh, just firm disagree.
After watching it for the billionth time, I was like, well, let's go back and see, let's just see. I never looked up the history. I was like, whoa, he is not the hero we thought he was. That whole posse he puts together was not okay, was not sanctioned. There's a lot of things he did, that were like his whole, the idea that he had this reputation. Dude, he punched a politician in the face and got fired from Dodge City in Kansas. And then he decided to move out west to get rich. Like, he's not a good person, but we're supposed to believe that he is. Which is so funny because I watched the Wyatt Earp, movie with Kevin Costner. I couldn't even get through it because I think he was playing more of the historical accuracies. And in that movie, he's a fuck up. He's stealing horses and whatever. I'm like, this isn't Wyatt Earp. And then I look back, I'm like, oh no, that's exactly who he was. He was a fuck up.
Shit, yeah.
Which, after reading that, I was like, oh, this movie, this movie is not quite, doesn't hold itself. And I'm like, oh, this is not super accurate.
Sirloin is calling you. He said, I think you drug Wyatt Earp's good name through the mud in another episode, Doug.
Did I?
Wyatt Earp is Doug's Thomas Edison.
I fucking hate Thomas Edison. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy multiple times. I can't stand Thomas Edison. That guy stole all of his shit. I've seen The Prestige. I know what he did. Fucking Thomas Edison. That's the thing. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I would love to somehow just get a peek at these wonderful historical figures and just go back in time and just for a day or a week or something, just observe them and be like, huh, are you as cool as they said you were?
Right.
Was Achilles as big of a badass as they said he was? Or was it just people just could tell stories really well, what were they really like? And what were their achievements really, Especially for someone like Wyatt Earp that wasn't too far removed from where we are today. I mean, he died, in the 1900s, early 1900s somewhat. And
Doug, it's just too bad you wouldn't be able to go back for a week because you wouldn't be able to eat, therefore you'd die.
Depends on how far back you go.
No. According to what you're saying, I go back a week in time and I'm dead. I won't be able to handle the bacteria.
You're talking about, okay, you think early 1900s? You think you could do it?
I don't think early 1990s.
You couldn't handle 1990s?
No, I don't think anyone can.
Your delicate little butthole couldn't handle it?
No. My delicate little butthole couldn't handle it.
Your delicate little butthole couldn't handle a hamburger from McDonald's in the 1990s? My lord, child.
I honestly think I could go back earlier than the 1900s, and I'd be fine.
Yeah, well, that's your contention. You're like, take me back to Jesus. I'm going to eat some food back then, and I'll be A-okay.
He'll save me. Here, Doug, I'm going to eat the bread. I'm going to drink the wine. And I'm going to eat fish. I'm going to be a pescatarian.
And if anything happens, he just gives you a kiss on the lips, open mouth, and then you're good. Sirloin 84 says, no! The Zima!
What's that?
He goes, no, the Zima from the 90s. I thought it was a Sprite, but it's not.
It's a Zima.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm fascinated by just,
Yeah.
Really, was Helen of Troy that hot? Was she? Was she worth going to war over? Was she?
Inquiring minds need to know.
We need to know. TMZ, get on it.
Get on it, TMZ.
Exclusive. Helena Troy. She was a 6.5.
TMZ. Was Helena Troy as hot as everyone says she was?
Well,
Find out tonight at 9 o'clock.
It's like when you find out, like we used to call everything brontosaurs, Well, turns out that was a whole lie because it was just two guys competing to find dinosaur bones and they made shit up. And I was like, Brontosaurus isn't a real thing. They're like, no, technically it's not. I'm like, what the fuck, man? That's what I learned,
It's very hard to wrap your head around that.
It's crazy. And it's, the more you know, the more you're disappointed in us as a people.
For a long time, I refused to accept that Pluto wasn't a planet.
See, that one was easy to me. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I was like, no, you can't do that. You just can't do that.
All right, hold on, Etoy. You say you think they brought back the Brontosaurus? Okay. I need
links.
I need to know. I do agree, Sir Lord 84. Brian Cox was amazing as Agamemnon. Troy is another one of those guilty pleasure movies of mine. Where I'm like, it's not great, but I do enjoy watching it. Oh, God, he sent a link. Hold on. They're reinstating it. What? All right.
Read it to me, Doug.
National History Museum. Brontosaurus reinstating a prehistoric icon. Ah! Brontosaurus is this. Recorded, was discovered in this. Scientists had started to question the fossils. Used the name. Actually came from another dinosaur. Remarkably similar to Apatosaurus. The first name published gets priority.
Man, the Apatosaurus.
Brontosaurus was relegated to scientific history and the fossils reassigned to Apatosaurus. That was until a study in 2015 unexpectedly found evidence that Brontosaurus was distinct from Apatosaurus all along, signaling the reinstated status of this iconic dinosaur.
I'm going to be very honest with you. I stopped listening halfway through.
Well, good news, Justin. It's coming back.
Good. All I need to know is, can I still wear my Brontosaurus underwear? That's all I need to know. Or do I need to throw them back?
Is the Brontosaurus underwear like, just the body, but right where the, the little dick slip is, that's where the Brontosaurus's head comes out?
God, that looks so gross and phallic.
That's actually a line from Beth.
She said that?
Yeah. God, that's so gross and phallic. How many holes or racing stripes do they have, Justin? Slotty wants to know.
Well, I mean, I did have them when I was 10, so
I hate that they call those racing stripes. I really do. I don't like that at all.
Wait,
why are we making this so fun? It's not fun.
You talking about skid marks?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
See, skid marks I like a little bit more.
Skid marks make sense.
What the hell?
Ejaculated my moist missile.
What the hell?
That's
just skid it out here in these undies. You know what I mean? Not like, woo! I'm going fast. How fast you going, man? I don't know. I got poop streaks. That's what I got. See, that's what that should be. And by the way, you almost made me do a spit take with that. So I thought that fart noise was one you threw in there, but you actually made that one.
Hey, you're welcome.
Either way, sharding equates to racing, says Slotty.
All right,
that's why NASCAR is not a sport.
Throwdown.
What an awesome transition. Got all serious.
Not quite sure where to go with that.
Like, cool. Throw down.
Well, we have a couple people on the stream to thank tonight. Specifically, Etoy, who we did kind of glance over his question and very emphatically asked, "Guys, what's your bat list?" And then he said his bat list is Bale, is it Conroy?
Conroy.
Conroy, so Bale, Conroy, Lego, Affleck, Keaton, West, Clooney, Kilmer, in that order. Not bad. Off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure what my list would be. I will think on that, but that helped to solidify today's throwdown, which is going to be Val Kilmer's Batman versus George Clooney's Batman?
Well, here's the thing. We know that George...
Today's throwdown is... Forgot the sound effect. George Clooney Batman versus Val Kilmer Batman!
Dun, dun, dun. It's just tough because it's been so long since I've seen Batman Forever. But I know that Batman and Robin, Batman has his own Bat card, like credit card. So...
Oh, fuck, that's true. Oh, my God, that's so true.
So he's got that. He's also got bat skates. I know that much.
I want to ask you a serious question about the Bat card.
Okay.
Is he positing that, does he really believe that no one can, like, follow the money and trace back? Who finances the Bat card? Who's the underwriter?
Well, I'm sure
Is it Wayne Enterprises?
I'm sure it's a partnership with Visa, you know?
It's everywhere you want to be. At the time, it was probably Amex.
Probably. I'm sure it has some really great, perks. He probably gets bat miles and stuff like that,
I get 5% back on all bat-related items.
Whenever I buy my equipment, I always use the bat card because, I just get 10% cash back. You know what I mean? Like, this is great.
Don't concuss criminals without it.
It's really great for paying off people after I give them horrific injuries and I get sued.
Sure, I may mangle people and make sure that they never walk again. Some people are left as vegetables. But one thing that I made a solemn vow to myself, I will always cover all of their hospital bills. And how am I able to do that, you might ask? Bat card by Amex.
Sly says that's why he slings those batarangs like he's tossing candy off a parade float. I'll just get more on the bat card.
Alfred, did we pay the bill this month?
I need more batarangs. Again?
My credit is horrible.
It's okay. I'm Bruce Wayne. I mean Batman.
Slowly going.
Oh.
The card is lined with lead, so he's slowly going insane as he carries it around.
So I guess as I think about this, like, I don't know, like, it's been so long since I've seen Batman Forever. I feel like Batman takes down the Riddler and Two-Face. I feel like the Riddler is a more intellectual bad guy, but we're talking about two Batmen. The physical confrontation.
Now, let's not forget that anytime he's appeared in our throwdown prior, we have brought into account the fact that he would have thought out ways to defeat his enemy.
Yeah, but have these Batmen showcased that?
Kilmer is more of and I'm going to use very large air quotes here, a detective than Clooney was.
That's what I'm thinking.
He had to solve those riddles, but
yeah.
But I do think that Kilmer or Clooney had more like toys, if you will. So he had those skates, he had nipples, he had a giant codpiece.
I'm thinking, there seems like there'd be more ridiculous
He's got
gadgets.
Robin and Batgirl.
Yeah, he's not going to bring them to the fight, though.
That's true.
Because that's bullshit. Because technically Robin shows up in Batman Forever also, so...
Yes, but they don't have Batgirl.
True. But, I don't know, I think... I don't know, I feel like Clooney would have more ridiculous gadgets that would be that would work no matter what. Like, he would have some sort of solution to whatever problem. And Val Kilmer's Batman does have some of that stuff. I particularly remember there's a scene where there's some sort of, like, blast that goes off, and he covers himself in his cape, and his cape somehow absorbs the fire, and he survives. But I feel like Clooney would have more of that at his disposal. So...
yeah,
he would be more prepared for whatever happens. I think physical combat is probably going to be negligible, I'm
looking through, because one of them had...
Because I'm pretty sure, like, even Batman and Robin, like, the Batmobile was able to, like, shoot a grappling hook and, like, scale a building. Like...
Oh, yes, very much so. It was
stuff
absurd
like that.
what he was able to do.
Yeah. Clooney has the smolder, says Etoy. Man, he's still got it. Okay, but what's that mean in a fight?
In one of the movies, this had to be in Keaton's. There was bat stationary.
Jesus Christ. Like,
I feel like that.
absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Kilmer does have sonar. He's got a tracking batarang he can use. Oh, wait, there's the heat shield.
Yeah.
Also from Batman Forever, Batcape gets a workout. Yeah, Kilmer's got some good shit.
Yeah. But I think there's just so many ridiculous ones.
He's got rockets in his boots. Let's not forget that. Kilmer does.
Rocket boots?
He's got rocket boots, man. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
I can barely say that, but
he just
really
winks at him and the smolder disarms Kilmer? I don't think so. At that point, maybe nowadays, Kilmer would melt for multiple reasons, but I think at that time, Kilmer also had some pretty good looks. He was fresh off The Saint, man. You know? That movie that everyone loved, The Saint. Kilmer in real life owned a bison ranch and a bison named James Brown. Worth mentioning. Is it?
If it took place now, Kilmer could just smother him, fight over. That's true too. All right, honestly, I think I can't remember specifically. I do know Kilmer he had a lot of crazy shit. He had the sonar mask, the eyelids that dropped down. He had a batarang he could control with his belt or something. He had rockets in his boots. He had a lot of cool shit. But because Clooney has the Bat card, he has access to buying so many more things.
And consider the fact that this guy had skates built into his shoes, not knowing that he was ever going to need to be on ice. Just in case, he could go bat skates, and they go and they shoot out, and he's ready to go. That guy is annoyingly prepared for every stupid thing that's going to happen. So
that's very true. Yeah,
he's going to have an answer for anything that Val Kilmer throws at him, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and then I think they were going over what was like the Statue of Liberty or something, and like the Bat car made some ridiculous jump.
Sure.
That a car just based off physics could not make. So I just got, you know what? Again, as much as I can't remember specifics, my gut tells me that it's Clooney Batman for the win.
I think I'm going to go with Clooney Batman for the win also.
Clooney Batman for the win! And that's what that is.
That's what it was. That was a fun one. I wish I had more to go on because I just haven't seen those recently.
I seemed checked out during that because I was trying to quickly scroll through lists and find facts on what each Batman had.
Isn't Kilmer a Scientologist? L. Ron will make sure Clooney goes down.
You know, hey, look, you're not wrong there either. There's a lot of good arguments there's Bison, there's L. Ron Hubbard, there's a whole bunch of shit.
I love that the random thing, just so it's aware, he owned a bison ranch, and he had one that was named James Brown. Just needed to mention that. Christian Scientist. Either way, he's batshit.
Ooh. I see what you did there, Slotty. Well done.
Good stuff. Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
So I watched a couple movies. I'm going to very strongly recommend Knives Out.
Okay. That's on Prime right now, isn't it?
That is on Prime, yes. So go watch it. So much fun. Did not see some of the twists coming. Some of them were pretty like, oh, I could see that, but that was still done very fun. Well acted. It is just a great time. So I'm also I cannot stress enough how much I do not recommend this movie. The 2019 version of Hellboy. Do not, under any circumstances, watch this movie. I made the mistake. Go ahead.
Go for it.
No, please. No, I want to hear.
I was saying, I love your curiosity in general with life, and the fact that the other day you were like live messaging me about what was going on in the Dark Tower. And I was like, dude, turn it off. You're like, oh, what's this kid up to, huh? What's happening here? I'm like, just don't. Shut it off. But you're just curious. You're so curious. And I've had that happen too. Some movies I'm like, this is gonna be bad, but I'm gonna go see it anyway. Warcraft was one of those. But so how bad was it?
How do I describe this? You know the graphics for Justice League?
Yeah.
Worse.
Oh.
Yeah. When he was fighting giants, I was like, oh boy.
He's not really there.
That's not a real giant.
I've seen those before. They don't look like that.
I'll say, yeah, I would say about on par graphically, maybe a little under, but about on par with the Justice League, where you're just like, oh man, come on, you guys put a lot of money into this, presumably. Where did that money go? Question mark, please. Tell me. David Harbour, his acting was great. I liked him as Hellboy. The movie was, and the actor, his counterpart in that, I can't remember what the actress's name was. Them as actors in the movie, good. The movie as itself, as a whole, oh, fucking dog shit. It was just so bad. I can't, I don't know if it was, you know what? I would be curious to have you watch it and tell me why you didn't like it, because I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue, but I cannot verbalize why it was so bad. So bad.
Nice.
So don't watch it, except Doug. Watch it.
Okay. Challenge accepted. That's one of those ones where I'm like, you know what? I'm curious enough. I should probably check it out. I just have such a hard time finding time to watch stuff these days. Like, I'm so with this goddamn puppy. Spoiler alert, in case anyone doesn't know, I have a puppy now.
Yeah.
And it is fucking exhausting. It's like having a second child. And between that and just doing other stuff, like, I have such a limited window of time to do things. And I'm like creatively trying to work on that stuff, and I'm like, I don't have time for movies. Except I watched, Infinity War and Endgame back to back, but that was on the weekend. It was different. So what I'd like to recommend is, if you guys are into strategy games, there's a really fun, like, you're talking like real-time strategy, fun, silly, quick games. It's called Circle Empires. It's a really fun, just like build your army, take over stuff, and it's super quick rounds, and it's fun. It's really fun. Essentially, you start in a circle, and you can, depending on the game mode that you play, you either try to conquer all the circles or you try to take out the other team. There's multiplayer with it if you want to. I fucking love those kinds of games. Like those, I saw it, I'm like, oh, I gotta get this. You can build all sorts of different types of armies with different types of things. It's super fun. Really enjoy it. So again, it's really cheap too, I think, on Steam. It's called Circle Empires. See how much it is real quick. I think it's relatively cheap. Because
you really do like those kind of, those are games that I've always struggled with, but you are so into those, and I love that. So while you're
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, while you're looking that up, Slotty said he agreed. He made the mistake, and there are no takesies backsies after watching Hellboy. I asked him to help me out. Why did he not like it? He said, I get your ineffable feeling of suck that pervades the movie. It just seemed like it didn't have any of the charm of the original and tried to cash in on it.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of saying it, yes. And also, at the end of the movie, I'm going to spoil it for everyone. So if you don't want to hear this, skip 15 seconds or whatever. But at the end of the movie, he's the King of England. Question mark.
Now I really don't want to see it.
I was so confused by that point. I sat there and I went, huh. And about 12:30, like midnight 30, 12:45, approaching 1 a.m., I paused the movie and I saw I had about just over 30 minutes left. And I went, this is my decision now. Do I do this? And I'm like, yeah, I need to see if he actually becomes the King of England.
That's not a good it's not a good moment when that happens. So
yeah,
Americans just don't understand monarchies. Thank you, Jervis.
You know what? You are not wrong. That is an accurate statement. I will cop to that.
Anyway, Circle Empires is $8 on Steam. $8.
Oh, easy.
It's so much fun. Check it out. I highly recommend it. There's also the other version of that called Circle Empires Rivals if you want the multiplayer aspect to it, plus a little bit of a expansion. That's totally worth it. Highly recommend it. So check that out.
Love
it. Gang, don't forget, next Saturday, June 27th, we will be doing our video game stream, and I will be playing Divinity Original Sin 2, a really fun role-playing game. Come check it out and help me make decisions as things are going on. And if you're around and you're feeling saucy, maybe I'll make a character based on you, and you can be part of the party, which will be really, really cool. So super fun. Come hang out. That's 8 p.m. Central Time, June 27th. We'll be doing that. I think the following weekend we'll be doing some Jackbox games for 4th of July, so it'll be a really fun time. And then weekend after that will be Adventure 3 of Dungeons and Dragons, the fantasy board game. We'll go back into that. So come check that out. Also, don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast. Check out our YouTube channel. That's where we post all of our videos as well as our highlight reels, especially including the one we just did last Saturday with the Dungeons & Dragons board game. It was a real hoot and a half. So you can go check out the highlight reel there. And Justin also exists digitally as well.
On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on
Spotify,
and on Google Podcasts, wherever you can find and consume the podcast. You can share us around, like us, rate us, review us, subscribe to us, all those good things. The big one that we like is sharing. Just copy the link to whatever episode you like, put it on your social media randomly, and just say, hey, go back and check out this episode from 2 years ago. I find it to be interesting. So will you. Maybe. I don't know. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap, and then just 2east8th in general. Be on the lookout for fun things always.
Yes, including Justin's OnlyFans at Justin_Michael.
Yes. You can, there is where you can support me. You can also come see me on camguys.com.
There we go.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
Twitch, thank you so much.
You all are great. You all have a dandy fucking week.
Be on me, Daddy.
Mind Gap Podcast.